Now, getting back on track here with Nick Saban as to why he's doing this for the first time ever in his career at Alabama, to be honest, I think it's a power play. He has never done this ever in 17 years. Well, dude, we have something interesting to talk about. Nick Saban, the legend, the GOAT, whatever you want to call him, the greatest of all time, the man, the myth, the legend himself, has yet to do something like this in his tenure at Alabama. Yes, that is right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you heard me correctly. Nick Saban has never, and let me repeat that word, never done this before. This is actually pretty crazy when you sit back and think about it. It has caught some people off guard, and I will say as a Bama fan myself, it is a strange move, but I also kind of understand it, and we're going to talk about that. It's just very different, and I'll leave it at that, and I think only somebody with the credibility of Nick Saban can pull something like this off, and not too many people are going to bat an eye. We're going to talk all about that in tonight's late night upload. Hope you guys had a great Monday. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better, but also we got to talk about Georgia. So a couple people sent me something over the weekend that happened, and I didn't even see this. And it actually goes well with this video because, ironically enough, it has something to do with Georgia and Alabama. I'll give you a little hint. Georgia, the back-to-back reigning national champions, are already being doubted. Remember last year how there was this false narrative going around that people doubted Georgia? Well, you can't say it's false this year because they've came out and openly doubted them on public television. You'll see what I'm talking about. As always, college football season is right around the corner, so if you like college football content, consider joining our amazing community. All right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap out. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, first things first, let's talk about this Georgia situation and get it out the way because I know most of you want to get to the main topic, which involves Nick Saban, but I do want to speak on this because I had like 5, 6, 7 people tag me in it. If you haven't been living under a rock, last week, the weekend that just happened Saturday, that was week 0. And I assume there was college game day during week 0. I didn't personally watch it. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. I don't know. But the bottom line is the normal people who get up there on Saturdays and talk about the games, they were talking about them. And y'all know how college game day goes. They don't just talk about the games. They talk about everything in the college football world, talk about Heisman, they talk about predictions and blah, blah, blah. And I already know you're going to have some people saying, well, Matt, how in the crap did you not watch college game day on Saturday? That's a tradition. And yeah, you're right. It used to be a tradition for myself when I was younger, but not anymore. I don't know if it's just me. Let me know in the comment section, but over the past 3, 4, 5, 6 years, it just seems like college game day gets worse and worse and worse. I don't know if it's me growing up. I don't know if it's actually getting worse, but I just don't enjoy it as much anymore. I'll put it this way and we'll get a move on. I don't look forward to it like I used to as a kid on Friday night. I remember getting home from high school football games going, man, I gotta wake up at 8 a.m. because I gotta see college game day. But now, no, not so much. I couldn't tell you the last time I was really excited to watch college game day. It had to be years ago. And don't get me wrong, I'll throw it on in the background on Saturday mornings when I'm drinking my morning coffee and just planning out my day. But as far as me actually sitting down and watching it, no. Like I said, let me know if y'all feel the same way. But anyways, getting back on track here, somebody sent me this where they were predicting the SEC champion, and yeah, just take a look at this picture. Desmond Howard picked Alabama. Pat McAfee picked Alabama, and Kirk Herbstreit, he picked Alabama. Alabama, Alabama, Alabama all across the board. And the reason I guess this was trending and people were sending it to me is because everybody's like, well, wait a minute. What about Georgia? Not a single person picked Georgia to win the SEC? I will say it's interesting, and when I saw this, it kind of caught me off guard because that is hard to believe not a single one out of these 3 picked Georgia. But at the same time, am I going to sit up here and say these are terrible picks? No, Alabama's one of the best teams in the country. I don't know what this false perception is going around the college football world that Alabama is awful and Nick Saban's on his last leg, but it's just not true. I get it. I understand it. Every single one of you watching this video, if you're not an Alabama fan, you currently have Alabama fatigue. You are tired of Alabama. They've been dominating college football for the past 15 years. But come on now, don't even try to sit up here and act like Alabama's not one of the best teams in the country, because they are. The reason I bring this up, though, and what shocks me the most, is how little, I guess, everyone else believes in Georgia this year. I'll tell you firsthand, as much as I've seen people say, oh, Alabama's going to go 8-4 this year, 9-3, I've seen just as many people also doubting Georgia. I haven't seen people saying that Georgia's going to go 8-4, 9-3, but I've seen people say Georgia, you know, they're going to have a little fall off of a season. And, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's not going to happen. Georgia's here to stay, and this is a program you do not want to doubt. Unfortunately, we got to get a move on. I could talk about that all day long, but did find that pretty fascinating. I got to be honest with y'all, I do take what Pat McAfee and Desmond Howard say with a grain of salt, but Kirk Herbstreit, he knows his stuff. He is my favorite college football personality, and he's always had a soft spot for Alabama, so do appreciate that. Like I said, let me know what y'all think about that, but we got to get a move on to the main topic of the main encore. The main reason you clicked onto this video? What's going on in Tuscaloosa, Alabama with Nick Saban? I just want to get straight into this so we all know what is currently going on. The quarterback dilemma, blah, 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 blah. Look, man, I've talked about that enough, and I even made a video, I think it was last week, where I told you, according to my sources that are at the practices and whatnot, Jalen Milroe, he's going to be the starter week 1 and more than likely in week 2 against Texas, unless something bad happens against MTSU. If you want more information on the quarterback battle, you can go watch that video. And we all know this isn't anything new. Saban, when they have quarterback battles, he doesn't even announce a starting quarterback until 15 minutes before kickoff. Everybody knew he was going to do that with this quarterback situation, so nothing new there. Well, here's what's shocking a lot of people. Today, Nick Saban was supposed to name a depth chart for all the positions, and he didn't do that. Or I said name a depth chart. He's supposed to release a depth chart. My bad. I really don't know how to dumb this down even more. There's not a single starter name for Alabama up until they actually start playing. There's no depth chart. You don't know who the starting left tackle is going to be, offensive guard, center, linebacker, cornerback, quarterback, wide receiver, kicker, etc., etc. All the positions. He has never done this, ever, in 17 years. And of course, you're probably sitting there wondering, just like everybody else, yo, Matt, why is he doing this? And here's what Saban, the man himself, had to say. It creates a lot of distractions within the locker room. Continuing along, and quite frankly, we don't need that. I want all of our players to continue to compete for playing time, to try to play at the highest level. And I don't want anybody on our team to think they're a backup player or whatever. Before we go any farther, I really like that, because if you do name, let's say let's just say I'm a wide receiver and I'm competing for a starting wide receiver spot. Well, if you release a depth chart on Monday and I'm the third string wide receiver, well, all throughout this week of practice, I'm not going to be motivated. I'm not going to work as hard because I know I'm not starting. That's just a scenario. Of course, myself, I would work hard, but you get what I'm trying to say, and it can be depleting for some players if they're not named a starter and they won't work as hard. So that is Saban's thought process in all of this, and I kind of like it. Let's continue along. Saban added, "We're going one day at a time. We're repping the players, and regardless of what happens in the games, just because whoever starts in the first game, that doesn't mean that you don't have to continue to compete and play throughout the season, because the competition doesn't end like the first game at any position, including quarterback." So pretty much what I've gathered from this, and we got one more quote to read off here, is that Saban wants all of the players to compete. Last year, you kind of got the sense of entitlement from some players. You kind of get the sense of these Alabama players, they didn't have that edge, they didn't have that dog-like mentality that they normally have. So maybe that's why he's doing this, just to switch some things up. I don't know, but like I said, kind of like it. He did address Jalen Milroe and the quarterback situation, and here's what he had to say about that. "I think Jalen has made a significant amount of improvement. I think he's more comfortable in the pocket. I think that he has more confidence in the way he executes and the way he plays. And I think that's going to be the key to drill for him, to be able to maintain that consistency in every practice so that he's developing the kind of habits that are going to carry over in the game and help him be successful." Pretty much, in other words, what I just read you about Jalen Milroe, coach talk. I would love to hype up Jalen Milroe in that quote right there, but that's just what coaches say. But also, do want to throw this in there, and I should have said this. It's not just coach talk, because this is the first time I actually saw Saban, when I watched the interview myself, speak highly of Jalen Milroe. Because in previous interviews, he said, yeah, Jalen Milroe's got a long way to go. He's got to work harder. But in this one, he's like, yeah, he's improved a lot, man, and he's looking more comfortable. He might be ready to go. From the people I've talked to in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the vibe going around, and you even get it from Nick Saban, is that Jalen Milroe, he's ready to go. Now, will he wind up being the starting quarterback for Alabama in week 6? I don't know all that. We're going to have to see what he does against Texas and all these other teams. But for now, at least, the word around the block is that Milroe, he's improved a lot and he's looking pretty dang good. However, I'm going to throw this in there. Those same people that told me that information were the same people telling me last year that it was also going to be really good. So do what you want with that information. Now, getting back on track here with Nick Saban as to why he's doing this for the first time ever in his career at Alabama. To be honest, I think it's a power play. I think what Nick Saban has just announced and what he's doing with this Alabama football team, he's telling these players, hey man, nobody's job's safe. I say it all the time, iron sharpens iron. And it's not just at the quarterback position, it's at every position on the field. We need to be better. Last year, we weren't good enough, plain and simple. And trust me, Bama fans, I get it. You're going to bring up all these excuses. I even hear Bama fans to this day talking about the referees in the Tennessee game. Look, man, to all these Bama fans, I'm going to give you a hard dose of reality. Your excuses have nothing to do with the win or loss next to your name. In 10 years from now, when people are talking about this 2022 Alabama-Tennessee game, nobody's going to say, oh, yeah, well, Alabama lost because of this, because of X, Y, and Z. They're not going to say that. They're going to say, oh, yeah, Alabama lost. It's the same thing with showing up to your job. If you got to be at your job at 9 a.m. and you show up at 9:03, it doesn't matter your excuse. It doesn't matter if there's traffic, you spilled coffee on your shirt. It doesn't matter. You're late. So guess what? And here's my message to my Alabama fans. Let's take some accountability. We weren't good enough. What did I say not just last year, but the year before? If we didn't have Bryce Young in both years, we would have went 8-4. Maybe. Heck, we probably would have went 7-5. The bottom line is, and where I'm going with this, it's not just the quarterback position that Bama fans need to worry about. It is every position on the field. So therefore, I like Nick Saban doing this, not releasing a depth chart. No entitlement for anybody. You got to work hard until we kick off on Saturday morning. Or actually, I think we play it Saturday night. I don't know why I said Saturday morning. You get the point. I'm ready for the season. Talk is cheap. And I'm tired of talking. And I know that is extremely ironic considering you know your boy Matt can do a lot of talking and a lot of rambling, but I'm being dead serious. I'm tired of talking. I want our play to speak for itself. I could go on and on. I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me know your thoughts down below. But,